Welcome to the Adoption Lounge. I'm Amanda.
And I am Katie. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Katie.
So today is my son's 10th birthday, which we are very excited about. So we woke him up this morning with a cupcake and we sang happy birthday and also bacon. So I gave him a full chocolate cupcake, got him all dressed, and sent him into school.
He's going on a field trip today, too, and it's his birthday, so I feel like it's for him.
I know. Well, and they have school off tomorrow, so he has arranged an extremely bougie long weekend of birthday celebrating. So he has the pumpkin field trip today. Tomorrow he's off school, and then on Saturday we're doing his birthday at Gigi's Playhouse, which is a fantastic organization run by Nancy Gianni for kids with Down syndrome. And so we invited some of the kids in his class, well, all of them, but some of them are coming, and we're really excited about that. And of course, all the family, of which there's a ton, and Amanda and her boys are coming as well. So we're really excited about that. But how are you?
I am good. So I have bad news. So yesterday, Clark, my son who plays baseball, his team was undefeated.
Oh no.
And they had their first loss last night. All of the boys were super disappointed. They're still the number one team.
It's almost harder when you haven't lost and then it just keeps going because there's a certain pressure.
Yeah.
It's like a no-hitter.
Well, yeah, and we played a team that we've already beat. So I think they went into it probably thinking, this is going to be
never
easy.
Get comfy, right?
No, but they did. They lost, and I blame it on the cold because it has gotten so cold here in Chicago. It's like 50 degrees when I sit outside.
It's not that cold. It's October.
Listen, when you're outside, it's cold.
I think when you're Amanda and you prefer the weather to be 100 degrees all the time.
That is correct. Bring the heat, baby.
I love the fall weather, and I am absolutely thrilled.
Yes, Katie's happy. But we are also really thrilled to have another guest. Her name is Nicole. We'll be talking with her a little bit about her journey.
Yeah, Nicole adopted through our sister company, Lifelong, that Amanda works for, and also is now one of our adoptive parent coordinators. And so she's going to tell her story with her wife adopting through our program and get to know her a little bit and see how her experience was.
I'm so excited. You want to introduce yourself, Nicole?
Yeah, sure. Since I'm here, why not? No, thanks y'all. So like they said, I am Nicole. We adopted through Lifelong, me and my wife, and now I am a part of the team with Angel. But yeah, super excited to see everything come full circle. My head still spins with joy and craziness. So yeah.
Well, and how long ago did you adopt? How old is your daughter now?
So my daughter is 3. And our journey was 24 months. So we started 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh. So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of how your journey took place, how you chose the company that you chose to work with, what led you to adoption?
So let's see how far. I don't want to go back. My wife and I met online, and early in our relationship, we talked about starting a family. So not long after we were dating, we started talking about how we would start our family, and we were pretty set on adoption. And so before anything really even happened, we weren't even married yet. And I said, let's start looking. And so we did. My wife found Lifelong. And when we saw that they were LGBTQIA plus advocates, we were like, it's a no-brainer. We'd actually had troubles finding any one place that we felt we were a good fit or even accepted for, so being a same-sex couple. We had an interview and we were just thrilled. We were so excited. And then I got this idea like, wait, I think we need to be married first. It's still a running joke in the house, like, why was I trying to be so traditional when I'm the furthest from it? And so we ended up planning a wedding really quickly, got married, and then took a short journey in trying to conceive, which we did, and miscarried. And I was like, this was all lined up so that we could just get right back to where we were. And I truly think that it put us in place timeline-wise to be in touch and to adopt my daughter through her birth family, if you will. So It's been a wild, crazy ride, and it still is. We have a free-spirited 3-year-old that is a mixture of her birth family and me and my wife, and so it's super fun. And now that I'm a part of Angel and I get to walk alongside families in waiting, it's super rewarding. And I get to share that with our adoption support group. Just like I said, to see it all come full circle has truly been amazing.
Was that expectant mom that ended up being your birth mom the first person that you spoke with during your journey?
No. So my daughter's birth mother was actually the 7th opportunity that was presented to us through Lifelong. I like to say that we had a fairly long journey. We were right into the 24th month when my daughter was born. We have a little of this and that peppered in our journey. We had a couple talkings that just kind of didn't go anywhere. They fizzled, if you will. We had 2 failed connections, but really looking back, I can see now the differences between all of them and why we felt that being in touch with my daughter's birth mother was so different. And it's because it was. It was because it was meant to be. I hate to use that because those were all the things I didn't want to hear. It was worth the wait. I didn't want to hear any of that. It's like, that doesn't put my baby in my arms, and so let's just keep on moving along. But truly, it all makes sense. For me and for my wife, it was challenging being in the journey for 24 months. You really see even your closest family and friends kind of not know how to handle it, maybe even take a little bit of a step back. And you wanted everyone to be excited with you, but it's like, oh, there's another one that didn't work out. And it's like, while we're disappointed too, we want to re-engage and be excited again, because with this new one, this one might be the one. And so we do want to enjoy the good for the good. And so not having all of the answers that I wanted and being able to plan, because I'm very much a planner.
How many people did you tell that you were starting the journey? And do you ever feel like after having to kind of explain this and deal with them reacting to every opportunity you had, do you wish you had been more tight-lipped about it? I get that question a lot from families, so I'm curious how you feel about it.
Yeah, I don't think that I would have done it any differently if I had the choice. I do think that not posting anything too specific on social media for us, we didn't do that. And I think that was the best thing for us. But we did have, obviously our parents and siblings, and then just a few close friends that, we told every detail along the way. And while it was challenging and sometimes quiet and, it felt a bit jaded from those people, it also was exciting too. So I guess it balanced out.
That makes sense. They were ready to be excited when you were finally bringing home your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it sounds like
absolutely.
you had a great support system. Did they help you through kind of the ups and downs of having 7 expectant moms that you spoke with?
To say where the true support really came from, I'd have to say it's probably just with me and my wife, being that, we truly leaned on one another during that whole experience. And then also we had, this wonderful agency that was able to guide us through and kind of give us an idea of, that's to be expected, and, it's okay, we're going to get through it. This is the next steps. And so having that helped. And then we had an adoption support group. So our social worker that we worked with for the adoption actually started this support group when we first met her. And to say that was helpful, it truly was. And now we have this, wonderful group of adoptive families in waiting, some that have adopted already, some are adoptees, some are birth mothers. Now it's grown a lot in the last 5 years. But to see people that are also in the same position or once were, there's no better way to relate to someone than them having experienced it themselves.
Most of the families and people that are participants in the support group, I'm assuming, are from your general area, so you can even get together in person.
Yeah, so when we could rejoin, COVID hit, and then we had some challenges along the way. So getting out and about is kind of new to us, but family fun days, just a bunch of families that have adoptees, and so that my daughter can see that she's not so much, even though this is her normal and it'll always be her normal, even though that may not be someone else's normal, that's okay. and we're going to hopefully instill that in her. But for her to have adoptees growing up right on side of her, even if it's just a park day here and there, I think it's super important.
I love that. I didn't know anyone else that was adopted when I was growing up. So I think that's actually really cool. I don't think I met anyone else who was adopted until high school, maybe. So I felt like I didn't feel weird about it, but at the same time, it would have been really nice, I think, to have that camaraderie with somebody else.
From our perspective, we can do our best as an adoptive parent, not also being an adoptee. So I try to keep that perspective too, that I'm only the adoptive parent, but I am also a birth aunt too. So I try to let that play in as well, since y'all know my sister has placed twins 16 years ago. So I've been on that journey as well.
I can't believe it's been 16 years. I love that you call yourself a birth aunt. That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
I knew what you were referencing when you said that, but I was going to be like, can you explain for the class?
I don't know that there's a term yet for it. So that's just what I call it.
I love it.
Yeah. So I was in my early 20s and my sister was expecting identical twin girls, which we didn't know at the time. Yeah, she found a wonderful family who has helped me become who I am today in the biggest way, and the adoptive parent that I am today too. It's truly wonderful to have an open adoption myself, and then hers is open too.
That's
and
wonderful.
I can't believe it's 16 years, and I'm Facebook friends with the girls, so that's super exciting. So my daughter will have, cousins that are adopted too. Hopefully we can, keep that relationship close as well.
Do you feel like having your sister gone through the process, do you think that helped you at all in how you spoke with expectant moms, or just your overall respect and perspective towards expectant moms?
I think it played a huge part, actually. Not that at the time we really would ask, as, each thing happened along the way. I didn't call my sister up and say, hey, I do it now in my job. I'm like, help.
What a great resource to have.
Right?
But it definitely helped me want to keep the birth family. And even to this day, I want to do the most for them because I think they deserve it. I know that they deserve it. And so, yes, by a long shot.
So tell us, for your adoption, what was the legal process like? Like, what was it like when it was time to hire the attorney in the state where your expectant mom, now birth mom, lived at the time?
So with the state that we adopted, or that my daughter was born in, there was a requirement for an agency to be presenting the birth mother. So not only did we have Lifelong as our agency, we had an agency representing the birth mom, which I was at the time, clueless, but also as I learned, I was super excited about it because it, for me, felt a bit more supportive for her, and then a bit more informative for me, so that I could reach out to them and have that resource that was directly linked to her. Not that Lifelong didn't offer her that, but the agency was there. She was able to go in and meet with them, have a social worker.
And just to explain for people, there are some states out there that require representation services be through an agency as opposed to an individual attorney. So agency states, what is that? Florida is one, Texas is one, Connecticut, I believe. So I agree with you so much, Nicole. I feel like people shouldn't be afraid of these states. It doesn't mean that you're having to pay another agency fee. You are just paying legal services to an agency instead of an attorney. And oftentimes I think the support is so great. I mean, our Quad A attorneys do a fantastic job, but I really do love the support of an agency as well. And I'm glad that she was able to feel supported by the agency that we partnered with.
So we ended up having an attorney as well for that state and our state. A lot of support.
And a lot of team members.
A lot of things to keep up with. It was super helpful, and you can only do so much from the other side, but just to say that the best thing that you can do is advocate for the birth family. I stand by that.
So were there any challenges that you had, or that you felt that you had to kind of overcome throughout your journey, especially being a same-sex couple? Were there any that were kind of geared towards that?
Just early on, really, with trying to find a place that we felt we fit in. The area that I'm in, most of the ones that we got in touch with were religious based, which we didn't fit in for. And also a lot of them were, I guess, geared towards heterosexual couples or not same-sex couples. And so I definitely wanted to go somewhere where we would feel accepted, not just,
Right.
that they were helping us get from point A to point B, but I did want to feel like a person and I could be myself. And so that's the challenge that we faced, being that we weren't religious and that we were a same-sex couple. It was just finding the support and the agency. Now, once we were with Lifelong, it wasn't even a thought in my mind that we were a same. It almost felt celebrated because it was just the norm. So
Yeah.
that was something that I really was able to lean into and feel really good about. Because, I mean, even to this day, we're faced with just small challenges of being a same-sex couple. And so to not have that during our journey was really nice.
Well, I'm glad that you felt supported because I think that that's huge when choosing the company to work for, is to feel not only supported in the very beginning, but also throughout the process. Because I feel like with the right guidance and support, it goes more smoothly and successfully, even for birth mom too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but I have to ask you, it's my favorite question.
I know what you're gonna say.
What was it like meeting your birth mom and your child for the very first time?
Oh, so I've Lucy's. So those things happened at two different times, and if you want both, I can give you both.
Oh, I
So
want
we
both.
actually
Yeah, we want both. We want it all, Nicole.
you can have it all. So we met my daughter's birth mother, grandmother, and great aunts. We went, I guess it was about 2 months before my daughter was born. We flew over there and stayed, I think it was under like 40 hours. I think it was like 36 hours or something crazy like that. Because at the time I had a fear of flying, so this was a big deal for me.
Aw.
I had
Aw.
to put some big girl clothes on and get out there. It still feels like it was yesterday. It was such a big part of our journey, I think, for them and for us. And I don't want to speak for them, but I think they've said that in so many words that, it brings everything to the next level. You really get a feel for who they are. But we met in a store, and we were almost kind of like on opposite ends and giggling. I think they were giggling and we were giggling, and then we just kind of met up, and it was just like, okay, there goes, the nerves that kind of melted away. We spent time at the zoo, and so we got to just kind of walk around and just exist and share space. It was just truly, it was so simple and so meaningful. So we ended that trip, I swear, we got in our separate cars and we said, I love you. And it was just like,
Aw.
and so that was amazing. And then when my daughter was born, so we had already planned to go up 2 days before. She was supposed to be induced on a Friday. Well, we were going to fly up on the Wednesday. We were going to go do like some sightseeing and just kind of settle in, and no. So
she had other plans.
Different plans.
and I'm so glad it worked out the way it did, because obviously it was meant to anyway, but it was precious. So the wheels touched down, like we had a connecting flight. When the wheels touched down, we start getting all these text messages come through, and it was like, baby's coming today. And we were like,
Gosh.
okay, so now it's real. And we weren't even there yet. So to say I was a wreck, we were trying to rent this car to get over there because we still had to drive from the airport to the hospital. And I think we made it, I think it was 3 hours before she was born. So we got to see the birth mother and her mom before my daughter was born for a brief moment. And then we were in a separate room. They let us know that she was born and everything was good. About an hour after she was born, I'm going to get emotional. We got to go in and meet her. And so we got to hold her and take our first little family photo. It was just, at the moment, like at the time it was happening, it's so crazy and it's so big that I don't even think you can wrap your head around it. But looking back now, it was just so easy, and it was just how it was supposed to be. We have these pictures, and I'm like, I don't even look there. Like, I don't even see myself in my eyes. I was so just all over the place, yet so present. It was such a crazy experience, even though you would look at the pictures and not know that. It just is, it was normal. It was just how it was supposed to be. But truly amazing.
Well, that's awesome. I love that so much.
I know. I really love that. And what a tremendously impactful moment, too. And to have those pictures to look back on, it probably brings you right back to that moment of meeting your baby. I know Katie loves your daughter's name. I don't know if you want to share it.
I wasn't going to say it because I didn't know if you wanted to share it, but it is one of my favorite names.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
We can share it. Maybe it will bring more people to how it's pronounced.
Her daughter's name is Banksy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I always think of Adam Banks on the Mighty Ducks team.
Of course she does.
She's like, what's wrong with you? But no, you were actually so cute about it. You're like, that's actually cute. That's the first time I've heard that. But
what
I
made
just thought
you?
It was so cute.
What made you choose that name? Like, how did you and your wife?
How are other people saying it?
So it's mispronounced usually Banksy.
Oh, I can see that.
Which is not.
I probably wouldn't, but I can understand how other people get there.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, I could understand any mispronunciation. Truly.
Yeah.
I can understand it. But okay, so Hillary Duff. It sounds so cheesy. Hillary
Speaking my language. Keep going.
Yeah, right. So my wife and I, we both followed Hillary Duff on Instagram. We watched her become pregnant and have this beautiful baby, and then learned that the baby's name was Banksy, and it was a little girl. And I was like, that's so unique and so pretty. And so we didn't talk too much about it, but we did watch this little girl grow up. And they have more kids now. It's just a little beautiful family. Also, my wife is very much an artist, and I love art. I'm not an artist myself, just a lover of the arts, and her birth family is very artistic. So Banksy, the street artist, who is most commonly known for the girl with the red balloon, it was fitting. But what is really cool is that my daughter's birth mother actually helped us name her. I had a few names picked out, a few middle names picked out. I don't know exactly how the conversation started, but we got onto the topic. And so my wife and I were talking with her birth mother about the name, and we landed on all liking Banksy as the first name the best, and then her birth mother gave her a family name for her middle name. So she's Banksy Jane.
Oh, that's so nice.
Which we love.
So special to carry that around. It's like she'll always have a piece of her birth mom with her. Yeah. But you guys have an open adoption. Do you mind telling us a little bit? I know when you were here visiting, you actually got to meet with her when you were here in Chicago. So I would love to hear a little bit about that.
Yes. So we do have an open adoption. I think the intention was just to stay in touch as much as we could in all the ways. Obviously, in-person visits would be, oh gosh, it would be so amazing if we could do it more often. And as soon as we can, we are. What happened is going to train and meet the team in Chicago, I wasn't far from them. And so they were able to come and meet me. And I had my mom come with me on my trip. So my mom got to meet them for the first time. So not only did we get to see her birth mother, the grandmother, and the aunt, who I'm still very much in touch with and love dearly, we got to meet my daughter's half sibling. So that came after her. Yeah. Wow. So and that was by far the craziest, like, unexpected feeling that I've ever felt, was seeing this little baby that looked a lot like Banksy and had some of the same mannerisms. It was this like maternal, loving, strong pull towards her. I still can't put my finger on it to this day, but I can't wait to be able to see everyone together one day. Not just me and my mom, but everyone. So that's my near future goal, is to get everybody together. And yeah, but it was absolutely, I still don't think I've wrapped my head around it that I got to see them. So yeah, just a simple little dinner, but meant the world.
That's so special, honestly. And it's great that that worked out that way, you know, that you were able to meet with them, and hopefully that happens again soon. Is there any plans? Do you guys have a in-person meeting every year, or was this the first time you've gotten to meet with her since Banksy was born?
So that was the first in-person meeting and the only thus far. With the state that we adopted in, there's no legal verbiage that can be placed in an adoption regarding post-placement. There was nothing that we decided upon having to do, which we would have been happy with either way. It'd have been a lot more challenging just because we haven't been able to fly. The openness is obviously still there and the intention is still there. I'm planning to go as soon as I can, but as soon as we feel like Banksy's ready to hop a plane, we are all going as a family and make that work however, we need to. And then we've also talked about them traveling here or maybe us meeting halfway. Like with anything else, life happens. And so it kind of derails plans. But yeah, we definitely, the desire's there. And I guess the intention and the effort is there as well in trying to get something planned soon.
Well, I love that. And I love it shows that these open adoptions can really look however the birth mom and the adoptive parent really need them or want them to look. There's always a baseline of kind of what open means, what the intention, like you said, it can fit whatever everyone wants. And I think that that's nice.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a great thing to, I guess, for me, obviously, like I said, I'm a huge advocate for open adoption, but I'm not too naive to think that, it doesn't always work out that way. I would love for it to. I would love for all the situations to be healthy and thriving, but that's not for everyone. I understand that too. My sister's open adoption is a lot like ours, except the fact that they live closer, much closer. And so they have seen each other a lot. That's been super cool.
It's been so beautifully impactful in your life being on the other side of this, because I think sometimes people, when they're thinking about an open adoption, they think about the birth mom, but they don't always think about the extended birth family. And how they can really just have such joy knowing how these kids are doing and even being able to have possibly a relationship with them without it affecting the parental unit in that way.
And that's true. I think there's a big misunderstanding of an open adoption being more like co-parenting or how things are set up with a foster system. And it's not. It extends beyond just the birth parents. So not that I'm super special and I need all of this, from my sister's adoption and the twins and their parents, but to tell you how much it has meant to me that they've involved me so closely and allowed me this space to be able to be a part of their lives, even though I don't have, a super direct relationship with the girls. I do have a very close relationship with their mom. And, I thank her all the time for helping me through some of the hardest moments of my life and helping me become or giving me perspective, because her journey is obviously ahead of mine. But to say we forgot for a second, I'm actually the sister to your daughter's birth mother. So it's super cool to have it all. And I know that this is probably a bit rare of our situation.
I wish it wasn't. I think what's so nice about your situation too is the way you talk about it, how you know what the girls are up to, but you have such a great relationship with their mom. And this is just showing how lovely it is in an open adoption that's healthy, that all the adults are managing this situation without having to put that burden on the girls, so they can happily know who you are, happily choose to have a relationship with you if they want, but their mom is handling it.
Yeah.
And as an adoptee, I know having a more closed adoption, I had to choose to reach out. And it was just very overwhelming to meet everybody who was excited to know me, but it was everybody, this is, I want you to meet my sister, your aunt, and my mom, your grandma. And I was it was a lot. So knowing of them and about them the whole time, I think would have been helpful, and having my parents have a relationship with them. So I think it's just lovely what you created, what you've all created.
Yeah. And what you're going to continue to build. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's wonderful. And I'm sorry you didn't have that, Katie. And if I'm sure you could do it again and have your parents do it, they'd probably do some things different. It was just
Well, yeah, it wasn't really an option to do open adoption in the 80s. I think they would have made that choice to do an open adoption for sure. But I think we've just come, like, know better, do better. We've come a long way as a society. We've learned from some of the errors from adoptees speaking out against their own kind of personal traumas towards how things were handled. So I think that we're just in such a better place. I think they did the best job they could have done with what they were allowed to do at the time.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I hear of other adoptions, you know, even outside of yours, that it sounds a lot alike. And it's unfortunate that, it has negatively impacted you and anyone else. And that's what we do our best. Not that it's damage control, but at the same time, we're so thoughtful and aware of what could be. And so we try to do our best, which I think is probably a good goal or the goal as a good parent.
I was just going to say, for really anything, definitely parenting. So you just try to keep going and make corrections. And I'm sure there's going to be things we look back on now that we think, okay, we can maybe do this better. We do this as a company, as an organization. So, it is what it is. I just think it's really lovely what you and your family, your sister and their adoptive family have all created. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Tell me, Nicole, why did you want to come work with us?
Oh, goodness. So it's not anything that I guess I ever saw. Like, I was never the person that grew up and could say, I want to do this, that, or the other. I was just like, I want to be happy, live life, be free. And so have this journey that started 16 years ago in adoption with my sister. It was so near and dear to me, obviously. And it meant so much to me. Open adoption, in itself, I thought, can I advocate in some sort of way? As years went by, and then we fast forward to our adoption and positive adoption language and open adoption. I'm a huge advocate for all these things. And I'm like, how do I really do something with that besides just with family and friends and every once in a while on a Facebook post, So once we became parents, I realized soon that going to a job that didn't make me happy was no longer an option. I felt as if I was going to be away from my daughter during the day and my wife. I really want something meaningful. And so it's like, let me just email Lifelong and see what's up. So I did, and didn't hear back for like a year. And it was 3 days before the 1-year anniversary of my dad's passing. I wanted some sort of sign from my dad around that mark. I really did. And when I got the call from Dina, I was just like, all right, well, maybe that was him. And so a few months later, I got to meet all you guys, and it has just really been cheesy to say, but like a dream come true to be able to do this and be a part of something that I feel is so big and important in someone's journey with adoption in itself. I think it's super important that we have people like the Angel and Lifelong team that are passionate and compassionate.
What advice do you have for other adoptive parents that are going through adoption right now? What advice would you give them?
I mean, I could sit here for days and talk to you about my experience, and offer advice. I don't know that, I can offer the advice and hopefully, you gain some perspective. Find somewhere, whether that be an agency, a family member, a spouse, a friend, that you feel genuinely heard and supported, so that just that sitting with you can keep you going and help you truck along. Because time is in our way, and sometimes we get in our own way. The journey can be quiet, happy, disappointing, joyful. It can be so many things. But I think if you can sit with yourself at the end of the day and just kind of try to circle back to a happy place, like, yeah, fear and all that, they can get behind the wheel, but we're going to take back over and we're going to stay in a good, happy place. I didn't do that in every aspect of my journey. It was long and it was difficult, but I think that just refocusing what is at the end and then manifesting what you want out of it, enjoying the good for the good. All feelings are valid. We just need to make sure that at some point in our journey, we find a happy place. And so that when we get to a harder time, we can think back and try and associate and say, okay, I'm going to refocus. I'm going to ground myself. We're going to move along. We're going to move forward and, find anything that you can lean on and lean into that you feel heard, seen, all of that good stuff. Because it's really about just being able to sit in the silence or sit in the hard times and be able to get through.
I think that's great advice.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Nicole. We really appreciate you being so candid, telling us about the hard times, the good times, Yes. all leading to our little Banksy.
Yes, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I am so honored to be able to share my story.
We're honored to have you here, and we're honored to have you as a part of our team so that you can help adoptive parents moving forward and be impactful in a different way. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
so I love having you.
I hope you do know every day, every time you have a conversation with an adoptive parent, how impactful that is and how happy they are to have you on their team. And it's just, we're very, very honored to have you.
Thank you, Nicole. We love you.
Well, Katie.
Well, Amanda.
You know, I love having people on here and getting so many different perspectives. I hope it really helps the people listening, people thinking about adoption, people that are in adoption, no matter where you are. Just, I hope you take something from these, but.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love talking to our families that have gone through the program because I just think that experience is so invaluable to other people who are potentially thinking about adopting, even to expectant moms considering adoption, you know, people currently waiting, whether they're in our program or a different program. It's just good to hear positive adoption information.
Well, yeah, and you feel like you're on an island by yourself. So it's nice to just hear that, okay, this person also talked to multiple expectant moms and they adopted, you know, or they're doing exactly what we're doing and it worked for them. So we're just going to keep moving forward. I think it's so nice.
Yeah.
So next week, we're going to keep it a secret. We're not going to let you know what we're talking about, but
it'll be a surprise. Please join us again next week. Thank you so much for talking to us today. And everybody have a wonderful weekend. Go Bears.
Go Bears.